All right, what is going on, guys? Today is a very special episode. This is not a Madden gameplay video. This is not a video game gameplay video. This is a interview. So I really enjoy watching interviews. I've always enjoyed it ever since I was a kid. I like learning about people, famous people that I follow, that I like their art, whatever they create. I like learning about how they got to where they were. So I figured, hey man, let me start my own interviews. I know a pretty famous dude. His name is TDBarrett. So he's gonna be my first guest on this show, man. Big shout out to TD for doing this, taking time out of his busy schedule. So I'm hoping to get other famous YouTubers, athletes, music artists, people like that. Whoever wants to come on the show, man, I'll interview them. So leave in the comments who you guys want to see me interview next after the video. Leave a like if you like this type of stuff, man, and run this up, please. I worked really hard on this video, so please leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Go subscribe to TD's channel if you're not subscribed to him, but you probably are. But if you're not, subscribe to TD's channel. The best man and content creator out there. Other than that, fellas, enjoy the video. Watch it through, man. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool questions asked. A lot of cool answers. So, again, big shout out to TD for doing this. Let's hop in the video. Peace.
Fellas, Jamie Newman.
I'm joined here with Aaron Judge. My first interview I've ever done, probably the biggest.
Let's get a Kelsey down the middle, down the pipe, man. Oh my gosh! I just hit a clip! Ish.
But then when we loaded Madden, it was the first.
To take down TDBarrett, 24 years old. Brett Barrett looking to become the first Canadian club champion from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
All right, fellas. So you guys probably know who this is, but I'm going to introduce him anyways. This guy has nearly 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube, over 4,000 videos on his main channel, over 150 million views, a former pro Madden player, former college quarterback, had his own character in MLB The Show, has played countless professional athletes in video games, my current division rival in Madden, from Alberta, Canada, TDBarrett, man. Introduce TDBarrett. Welcome to the show, man.
That was a great intro. Thank you.
Was it? You're from Alberta,
really
Canada,
was.
correct?
Yeah, I'm from You got a lot of the things. The only thing you messed up, the only thing is and this isn't even, but I actually just had like a party with like family and friends because I hit 500 million views on the main channel.
Okay.
So instead of 150,
Okay.
I had to add that extra, 350 million. And you said former pro Madden player, and I can't let it be former anymore. Next year, maybe we'll.
That's right.
We'll hop
That's why I
back
said that,
into-
man. I had to put a little. I had to give you a little kick in the butt.
Hey, well, no, I appreciate you having me on, man. Congrats on all your success, and you're killing it on your channel, and your views are crazy. You got a great fan base. You haven't been doing it very long, so super impressed to see. Your Madden skills have gotten a lot better as well. You're definitely and you're killing it in the game. So congratulations. You're definitely your growth from when I started. I don't know if this my first little bit versus your first. You're killing it way more. Views, everything, your growth is crazy. So be proud of yourself.
Thanks,
and your
bro.
consistency is amazing. So I was
Thanks, bro.
I'm happy.
That's thanks to you as well. You definitely helped me get there. I'm not here without the TD Barrett cosign. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, well, I'm glad I can help in what ways that I can. So yes.
Thanks, man. Thanks. All right. So your first. This is my first interview.
Yeah.
Your first interview was actually Aaron Judge. Do you remember that?
I do. Yes, I remember. I remember Aaron Judge. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that on your channel. So that's actually crazy. I'm a Yankees fan. So when I saw that, I was super jealous. You're a Blue Jays fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a Blue Jays fan. The Aaron
You guys
Judge
beat us
thing-
last night.
I know we did. We got a good we're looking pretty good too. We're looking pretty solid. 3-1 to start. But yeah, the Aaron Judge interview, that was probably one of the most watching that video back, just in terms of nerves, I know I'm not a interview person. So MLB hit us up and was hey, we're going to New York. We're gonna be interviewing. It was me, Dodger Films, and there was one other. Why can't I remember? And QJB, I think. Yeah, me, Dodger Films, and QJB went. And I remember we were just sitting upstairs because they were doing the cover shoot. And all of a sudden, up the elevator, Aaron Judge comes up in his Yankee uniform, but he was very, very good to be around. He was super nice. He kind of eased the nerves and stuff. But even when they put the camera on me and they're oh, you got to interview Aaron Judge, I'm huh? Like what? Like I'm like
So that wasn't you like being like, can I interview him? They were like, do it.
No, well,
sort of
yeah,
thing?
the like promote like the thing was that we all had like X amount of time to film with Aaron Judge and like to do like some type of interview. So we were all supposed to get questions. I was like, I don't even remember what I asked. I remember I wrote down like 5 or 6 questions, but it was like, it was just one of those moments that was like, it was so surreal because it's like you grow up watching professional sports, and he was the first pro athlete that I had met through like YouTube. So it was just like you see him, and then he's just like he was cool, but it's still like just standing there next to him trying to like. And I have a lot of more respect for people who like do interviews like on field. That's a very tough job. I don't know, but yeah. And you're a Yankees fan. I didn't know that. You got a Pirates hat.
Yeah. I know. I'm a big. I collect like MLB hats. So
Okay.
I'm a big hat guy.
Pirates
But,
have one of the
I'm a
coolest
Yankees fan.
hats.
Yeah,
Pirates
for
have-
sure. And this one's pink, so that's why I like it.
I didn't even realize that. Underneath.
All right,
the
man.
bird
So
is
let's
pink.
talk about your earlier life. So what was
Okay.
the first video game or like the first system you had as a kid?
First system would have been. I didn't play very many games when I was younger. Like I didn't play I didn't have like a Nintendo or like a lot of people my age.
Okay.
did. I really wasn't very into video games until I would say so. The story this is essentially what happened. Me and my dad were at the mall, and we go into EB Games, and he's like, I had played going back further than that, I had probably the PlayStation 1, and I would play NHL on it because growing up in Canada, hockey was pretty much the only game. So I played a ton of NHL.
Right.
And then randomly we go into the store one time, and my dad's like, oh, Madden 04. And I actually, at this time, when Madden 04 was out, I don't know how old I would have been. I didn't know what the NFL was. I had never watched a football game. Like, Canada, it's changed a lot, but like back then, I would say football was even less popular here.
Right.
So I remember he's like, okay, we should get Madden 04. So we picked it up. My dumbest question, and it's so weird how like some of these memories are so vivid. I asked him, I was like, will the Toronto Argonauts be in this game? And I was like, because I knew a little bit about the CFL, but I was like, well, like it's this guy, and he's like, no, like that's not the same thing. So we go on, we start playing it, and I just like, I loved Madden from the beginning, but I was like a kid with Vic. Like I just literally ran around with Vic, and my dad would get so frustrated. But we'd sit in the living room and just play like 3-4 games a night, and like we'd like keep track on the wall, like just how many like games we would win. And then I hadn't really picked a team until like I think it was Madden because we didn't buy 05. I want to say I didn't get 06. I think I played 04 until 07. And then in 2007, Vince Young was on the cover. And I want to say earlier than that, I had really been attached to the Titan Blue. So I was like, oh, that's so sick. So that's how I kind of became a Titans fan. So then I started playing with only the Titans. But early video games, I would not really call myself a gamer, like from a young age. I more like sports games. So I got into sports games. And then pretty much played. Actually, I took a huge break from sports games during like the Call of Duty Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2. I got into all those games. And then I picked Madden up again in Madden 12 because it was on sale in a Zeller's catalog. Or maybe that was, which I don't even know if Zeller's is in the U.S. Might be a Canadian store. But it was,
I've never heard of that.
Madden 12 with Peyton Hillis was on sale, and I remember just being like, I'm going to go pick it up. And I got so addicted to that game. And I've played Madden ever since. Yes.
Nice. All right, so I actually have you can see me, right?
Yeah, I can see you.
On your screen. Okay, so I have this picture here.
Okay.
So this was on your Instagram. So that's you in the top, what number are you there? You are number 93, top 100 Madden leaderboards. So what my question for you is, would you think like you at that age?
Yeah.
As a kid, how old are you there, you think?
That I honestly, I'd have to look back. I would say, I think that was the year after Madden 12. I want to say, because after Madden 12, was it Madden 25?
I think that was
the
it.
20.
I'm pretty sure.
They did the 20. So I'm pretty sure that was Madden 25 because.
So you were in high school.
I would have been in grade 9. Yeah.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how it works in Canada. Do you guys have like 9 through 12 high school?
Yeah.
Or is it different?
Yeah, I would have
Okay.
I would have been in grade 9 at that point. And that whole like, so I was, like I said, so Madden 12, I get the game. I vividly remember my first like 30 games I lost. Like there's such a learning curve to Madden. And then I just got better and better. And then in Madden 25, I would honestly say that was, and it was either Madden or the next one, that was easily probably the best I had ever been at the game. Like I remember I joined a pro, like at the time, like one of the pro like money buy-in CFMs. And I spent $20 on my team. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were the worst team with Denard Robinson. And I won the Super Bowl back-to-back years. And I remember the guy, like there's one guy who still like comes in the chat every once in a while, and he'll like comment on my videos. He's like, I remember you when you were just like the cocky, super frustrating high schooler who everyone found so annoying. But that picture, I remember when I got to the top, I had my family in the living room because I moved my TV out of the living room and I was like, well, I'm going to officially make the top 100.
Oh, sick.
And then I got a picture. I was so happy.
That's sick.
That was a good moment. Yes.
So do you think, like, you at that moment, did you have visions of becoming like a pro gamer or like a pro YouTuber, or were you just like doing that for fun? Like that was just like your thing to do at the time?
I would say it was more for like, I watched YouTubers, so I definitely like YouTube was on my mind. Pro Madden wasn't really a thing. It kind of like Madden, it was Madden Nation, which used to be like, I used to watch that show a lot.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then Pro Madden kind of took like it stalled out between that and then like the MCS era that we're in now, where it's like all like, that wasn't really a thing. I remember I would say like me and my friends, like I wanted to be good a lot at that time. The main reason I wanted to be good is so I could beat my friends. Like me and the guys from the football team, we'd bring like 12 guys over and we'd have tournaments, and I won every time. Like I was just like, and I loved winning. No matter, and I was so annoying to play because I'd have like the blitzes that they didn't have. But I still got like an insane amount of satisfaction about like, oh, like I was really, really, really good at Madden.
Of course.
And I'm trying to get a timeline for you here because I started YouTube for the first time in it was like grade 12, end of grade 12.
In high school, right?
Yeah, and I want to say that picture was taken in grade. So I would say there was like 2 or 3 years in between. Madden 15 though.
Gotcha.
And I don't know, I'm rambling on here, but this might be it. Madden 15, because I'm trying to look it up. That was the first year that that year I was amazing at the game. Like that's easily the best I've ever been at any video game. That's part of the reason I started a YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
Kind of doing it. Madden School reached out to me at one point that year to like do an ebook, and like I was really good at rocket catching, and like that was probably.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but then.
So that's where the rocket catching comes from.
Yeah.
The Melvin Burris.
Literally, because people always like, oh, and like I get all those, but I'm like, literally, go watch my first YouTube video. It was a rocket catch.
And you've been doing it.
My first video that got over 10,000 views was a rocket catch tutorial with Justin Hunter on the Titans, and it was like, it was easily like the thing that I was notorious for was like just swerve catching on the left side, never the right. It was always run up in the pocket, swerve catch, and like this year it's back. So that's why I'm like, people watch it, and no one really does it because there is a little bit of skill to it. It is a bit of time.
Of course, yeah.
So I feel like maybe me doing it a long time ago helped me this year. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool to know. That's awesome. All right. So, so would you say like, so I think probably the biggest thing that makes you so successful is like the charisma you have when you play, and like how excited you get when playing the game. Do you think that comes from being a kid and just playing with your dad and your friends, and like were you always like that playing, or like is that something that came on later?
Yeah, I would say like I like to like. I would say, if you ask my dad, he would say I was like the biggest, most annoying person to lose to. Like I talk so much trash. I remember my friends, like I was just like, I was a bit more, and I still like that side comes out sometimes, but I loved like the like chippiness of Madden. Like I loved that it was one of like, if I win, like I was probably gonna let you hear about it. And I was pretty like, I would say definitely like when we'd have our like Madden tournaments with my buddies, I was talking quite a bit. Like but it wasn't quite. It was more like subtle like jabs and like kind of. But I would say the energy that I like when I play video, like I guess the one thing that I kind of remember when I started YouTube is like and if I did, like, when I do play video games, I get really excited because my philosophy is, like, if I'm not excited about it, which I am anyway, so it's pretty easy for me. Like, what's going to make other people excited about? Like, if I want other people to feel passionate about a series or a player, if I'm not showing that, like, if I'm not excited about it, how am I going to convey to these viewers, like, hey, you should be excited, and then get them to watch 25 episodes of a franchise if I'm not, and like, but everyone has different, I'm not saying you have to get as, like, crazy as I do in the video, but, like, I would just say, and I would say through the videos that I do now, my personality really can, like, come out because I like cracking jokes. I like kind of subtle, like, just, like, random kind of humor in the videos. But yeah, I would say that kind of comes from the fact that I've played, like, I used to, I'll have to get my dad to talk about it once, but he hated losing to me. I was just the most annoying person to lose to, but
That's
yeah.
funny. That is funny. All right, so moving from, like, middle school to high school, or do you call it middle school there too
middle
as well?
school, yeah.
It's probably a stupid question. Okay, so so people might not know that you were a very good athlete. So you won Athlete of the Year in middle school, was it? Or is it
I
early high
won
school?
middle school and high school. Yeah.
Okay, so both. So there you
Yeah.
go. So would you say that you started playing because I know that you played hockey growing up, and you stopped playing hockey and you started, like, focusing on football, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So would you say that you started playing football, like, because of Madden?
Yeah. Oh,
Or, like, would you say it was something
100%
else?
Madden. Like 100%. Like I actually didn't pick up, like, I think early people on the channel would know this because I was more of a baseball YouTuber, but I would say the sport that I was notoriously, like, when I was really young, known for being really good at was baseball. I played baseball all the way up until grade 11. And yeah, I like, consistently, like, one of the higher, like, I always pride myself on being a good. So I would say baseball was my best. Like, if you ask people when I was younger, like, I was known, like, in high school, like, my identity would have been like, oh, he plays baseball. Like, he's you know, like, and baseball's not super common here. That's why I kind of said I was, like, decent at hockey, but definitely not near as good. So I played 1 year of football when I was young, and then I stopped. So I played that 1 year. I played quarterback. I had the worst team. We were an expansion team of this, like, youth league, and the offensive line, like, there's still, like, videos. I wish I could find these videos. The offensive line was made up of, like, it was, I would have, like, maybe 2 seconds to throw. It would be like I'd get the ball, and if I didn't get the ball out of my hands, it was like playing a nano blitz. Everything, like, I was done. Like, it was. So I played that entire year, and then I stopped. I didn't really I liked it, but I was like, I don't know. Like, what was happening was that my baseball, every time that I'd play football, it would mess up because I pitched some in baseball. It would mess up my pitching, and then in vice versa. So every time I played baseball, I'd lose my spiral for a bit because rather than throwing this, I had to throw this. So that kind of would mess with things. But so I picked football back up in grade 9. So in grade 9, I started playing football again, played quarterback for the junior team, and then I played football grade 10. I played both up until grade 11, and then I quit baseball in grade 11 so I could just focus on football. But yeah,
Gotcha.
Yes, and football became my favorite by far.
Of course, of course. All right, so you're very good. I have to admit, you're a very good trash talker. From talking to you both over the mic and in the group chats, you're a very good trash talker. So would you say that you were a trash talker when you played, like, sports in person, or would you say that, like, when you played football and you scored a TD, would you, like, let them hear about it, or were you quiet?
More of, like, more of the subtle jabs that, like, hurt, like, I wasn't, like, doing this, but I would just, like, I'd have that one, like, I remember some of my buddies, they hated me because, like, we would, like, just like friends do, like, we would start bugging each other about how we played in the game or, like, stuff like that, and I'd always, like, notoriously, and I I sometimes definitely went a little bit too far, but I'd always have like the little jabs that I could tell like was just like
Yeah.
they were like kind of innocent seeming, but they weren't, and they would just like I could tell they got under people's skin, and that's why I love these CFMs because literally like an online CFM, like it's a dream job to be able to do it because like you literally get 32 people in a league, you can try like you can banter, and honestly like the fact that we're all in a group chat and we talk. It makes these games feel so much more important when you're playing them. Like when you don't want to see that other person win because you know you're going to hear about it. Like I love the rivalries of an online CFM. Like people though, it doesn't really show as much on like the videos because there's no real way for me to show it. But yeah, there's so much like for those of you who don't know, like there's so much like banter between me, TSAT, me, like between everybody in that group chat that it's literally like
like people might think like just because TD is like this big YouTuber, like he doesn't say anything in the chat, like he just ignores. He's just when he plays games, that's the only time. No, bro, he's in there like he's letting us hear it. When he wins, he's letting us hear it. Before he plays a game, man, he's trying to get in your head. Like it's not like it's all real. You know what I mean? Like it's not staged or anything. Like we take it very seriously and like it's very competitive, which makes it so much fun. And it makes it fun for you guys to watch because it's all authentic.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, and like before the game, and we honestly, it's just fun. Like I enjoy like just like sometimes I'll just like because when you have a group chat of like 30, probably like 28 Americans, I'm always just curious. Like we sometimes just talk about like what's like and stuff like that. But yeah, every single game like. Certain playoff games, like you guys have no idea how bad I want to win those. And like after the game, like as soon as I say like, "Oh, thanks guys for watching," I'm on my phone like just like absolutely. But I it's not like it's not super like. But I would say everyone is equally as like if I lose a game, like I'll see like someone post a clip of me like emotional or me opening up Lego and like they'll roast me back. Like it's pretty. We go back and forth in that chat quite a bit, so.
Yeah, we do. People go at TD just as much as he goes at everyone else too. So it's like it's even out.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So all right, so let's get into when you first started YouTube in the middle of high school. You said grade 12.
Yeah, grade 12. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you what what YouTubers did you watch that inspired you to become a YouTuber, and like what made you think about like starting a YouTube channel? Like was it something that you always had thought about, or was it just like something you discovered? You were like, hey, I could do this.
I would say so. My first my favorite YouTubers were Pitch Black Chaos. He was a Madden YouTuber. Goonies Taking Flight. Moss the Chappie. I would say those would be the guys that I watched. Like before I went to bed, I would watch like their videos. Like if they posted a new video and. Cookie Boy was another one, and they would, like, at that time, all Madden YouTube, like, now it's all live commentary, so it's all, like, you actually watch with like, completely live. iMaverick was another big one that I watched, like Madden Mastermind and stuff like that. So at that time, everyone, and this is just, like, an interesting fact for everyone, like, Madden YouTube started off as all post-commentary. So if someone would play a game and then they'd talk for, like, 10 minutes. Like, the style that... so like back when I watched it, that's what I started off with because the main reason why right now you see everyone doing it, I honestly think is iMaverick started what was called the commentary cam. So he would record his face live and then he'd like insert it in, and that actually like in my mind completely changed like Madden YouTube because everyone then kind of started doing the live commentaries. But so, grade 12, so I had just finished my my senior season of football, and I was going away to live in Halifax. I was going away to play football. So, the way I was like looking at it in my brain, like I was moving across the country, and this was probably not the best way, but I was like, I am moving, so friendships, whatever. I didn't have a lot. Like it did, but I was like, I didn't have a lot of reason to like, oh, I really need to be like hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, you know what, like if there's ever going to be a time where I have like 6 to 8 months to just focus on myself and following this, I'm like, this is probably the time. So I remember vividly, I was just sitting in bed, and a couple of years before I'd asked for an Elgato, which is funny enough.
Okay.
I had started a YouTube channel before TDBarrett called The Clutch Quarterback. Yeah,
Right.
and then I deleted that
Right.
one. But I had the Elgato, so I was laying in bed. I was like, oh, I'm gonna pull out the Elgato. Went and grabbed it. Made my first video. It was brutal. If you go back and look at my first video, it was filmed in like.
Yeah, I've
in,
seen
like,
it. I've seen it.
In like 240p. Something happened with because I didn't have a laptop or anything, so something happened with the render where it was like, it was awful.
Right.
But
Right.
I just kind of started making video. And then it wasn't. It honestly was not going very well. Like it was going like about as good as I bet. If you've ever started a YouTube channel, you know how sad and tough it can be. Like mentally, just watching like. You put a lot of work into something and then there's like nobody watches it. It's discouraging and
Right.
and honestly, it almost got to me. I almost quit. I hadn't posted in like 4 days, which was a lot for me. Like, and I think in my brain I was kind of like, you know what, like this I probably can't do this. And this website called Sports Gamers Online. I don't know if you've heard of it. It was a new startup
think I have.
website. And they were looking for writers and people to do tips. So this website called Sports Gamers Online hit me up and they're like, hey, like we'd love if you could like join the website and produce content for the website. And I remember like when I got that email, I was like, that totally got me in I got added to the SGO group, the Sports Gamers Online group chat. There was probably 3 other YouTubers in there who were all kind of just starting out. One of them was a guy named Sam Pham, who's now works at 2K.
Yep. I remember.
Yeah. So I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
I
man,
think he
that's my
now
guy.
actually works at 2K. So he was one of the people that was just starting out. I don't really remember some of the other ones. But we were.
So Sam Pham, he started off Madden.
No,
Madden with
working
you?
on. So that
Or he was
website
2K?
did all sports. So I was brought in to be the
Oh,
Madden
okay,
YouTuber. He was
okay.
the 2K YouTuber. We had a FIFA
Gotcha.
guy. I forget his
Gotcha.
name. But like having that group chat, like I said, I almost certainly would have quit if it wasn't for that, because like once I got into that group, we all were able to hold each other accountable. Like once you have that, like I had that kind of community around me, and it was like, hey, if I'm not posting, like these guys are gonna be like, hey, dude, what are you doing? And like I thought that was
Right,
easily the
right,
most
right.
important thing for me to just like keep going. We ended up getting to go to E3, which was so cool. Like just as like so
Yeah.
end of grade 12 before I went they got us tickets to E3, so we flew down there. We actually interviewed Rocket League before Rocket League was Rocket League. Like literally, it was one.
Wow.
This is one of my most like weirdly cool things I've done. Rocket League was just like a tiny little computer in the corner of E3, and our like manager was like, we need to go interview these guys. It's like robot car soccer, and we're like, cool. So on the first day, we went and did it. We went and played it, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really fun." So we interviewed like the creator of Rocket League. That's somewhere out there. There's an interview of me with the creator of Rocket League, and now Rocket League is literally like
Wow.
the biggest game ever. But that event was so cool because it was just like I remember. So one of my buddies, Uber YouTuber, after that event took place. I told him, I was like, honest, I vividly remember telling him, I'm like, I am going to, I think I said, even if it kills me, I was like, I am going to be successful on YouTube. Like, I saw.
So that really like lit a fire in you.
Yes, and
going
I
to that
think
event.
the main thing was, so I met Cookie Boy at that event. He was in the Madden like tent and like a couple other YouTubers. And I met Cookie Boy because someone was like, oh, this is Cookie Boy. And I freaked out. I was like, that's Cookie Boy. And then he played a game of Madden with me, and I was like fanboying more than I was so pumped up. And then as we were playing, so this is actually one of the moments that I was like, okay, like just like small life moments that you like motivate you. And certainly we're playing, and someone taps me on the shoulder, and I had a YouTube channel at the time, and they're like, hey, can I get a picture? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then he goes to take the picture, and he's like, "You're Cookie Boy, right?" And I'm like, because no one knew what Cookie Boy looked like, and I'm like, "Oh no, Cookie Boy's right here." And then he takes a picture with Cookie Boy, and I was like, it wasn't like I was happy for Cookie, but it was like one of those moments where he's like, I want to take a picture with you. I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, sure, let me, can you, like I was like, oh, I've really done it. And then he wanted to take a picture. So after that, like, we went out for supper that night, and then I told Daniel, like, who is a good friend, he also has a YouTube channel. I was like, no matter what, like, I want to, like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I am not gonna quit until I make it. And that's when I went on to like posting 3 videos a day. I went crazy. Like, I was just like, no matter what I got to do to get noticed, because it's so hard to get noticed. I was like, I am gonna find a way. And that event definitely, like, just seeing how Madden's face cam cut out. Perfect for my face cam cut out for probably like 30 seconds, but that's perfect for an interview with me. Kind of sums up everything. I had been to Arizona, was my first kind of trip. I went with my all our like uncles and sons. So I'd been to Arizona, but like at that time, like after I like kind of got successful on YouTube, I was going to the States like a ton.
Right.
But like before that, like going to LA, like it was kind of like that magical, like, whoa, like this is like like this is so cool. Like it definitely had that kind of like alert me or I don't know how to explain, but it was one of those like life moments I'll never forget, like just telling them like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and like and like there was a lot of moments in doing it and like that were not fun. There's a lot of moments where I was like, there was times in my life like in university when I was like so stressed out about YouTube that I was like so like trying to get my college, trying to play football, where my brain was just like, but at the end of the day, like I can look back now and like be happy I did it, but I can't say that the like everything was easy, but I'm very like thankful that I did it, but it was tough at times.
Definitely. So speaking of tough parts, I think this is important to mention as your journey as a YouTuber. So I think what stops most people from becoming YouTubers, like if they want to, is like worrying about what other people are going to think about them. Like, I think they don't want their friends to think they're weird. They don't want to like put themselves on the camera and like be embarrassed. But what actually happened to you in high school at your first channel, if you don't mind talking about it, is when you were on the was it the badminton bus? You were playing for your school or something?
I was really good at badminton. I was claimed.
Yeah, we don't have that. That's not a high school sport in the U.S. So that was like, wait.
Oh, it's amazing.
Badminton.
Badminton.
I played it. But it's not a high school sport.
Such a fun sport. A fun sport. But yeah, continue.
Interesting. But yeah, anyways, you were on the bus ride and they were like playing your videos through like a speaker, correct?
Yeah. So
and that just like is like completely demoralizing.
Yes, well, and it wasn't done in an act of bullying. Like these were my friends. Like it wasn't like I was like this poor kid that like my buddies were just playing it, and I was like, what I always tell people is when you decide to be a YouTuber, you're putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable way. You are in front of a camera. People can watch. Like you're saying things. Everything you say can be like so. Like here, and you're like. Back then I talked way even louder than I was. Like I do now. Like it was like embarrassing. So like. Just sitting on that bus and like having that playing and everyone kind of listening, like I'm not a shy person anymore, but I was a lot more shy back then. It definitely like I went home and I just was like, oh, I'm just gonna delete the channel. I'm like, because I knew everyone knew the name now, so I was like, I don't want people.
And you had like a decent amount of like traction, right? Like it wasn't like you just made it and you had no subscribers, right?
Yeah, it was. I would say I had over like 1,000. Like I was doing like decent enough where had I kept going, but I'm glad that it all happened because I think I was able. Who knows if I would have got burnt out with that one, and then also I'm glad I just. And like I think the biggest symbolism for my like YouTube journey is when I started my first channel, I called it the Clutch Quarterback because I didn't want anyone to know it was me. Like I didn't want friends, anybody to know it was me. The second time I created my channel, I remember trying to decide a name, and my PlayStation name had always been TDBarrett. And I think at that point, like the second time I started, I was like, I'm confident enough now, like I'm gonna go by my own name. So I no longer was hiding. I was like, I was willing to like, you know what? If you want to watch my videos, go. And that was my mentality. Like through that last year, grade 12, I was like, and like I remember I was so excited telling, and it even like it was so. I remember in chemistry class, it was grade 12 chemistry. some of my friends were talking about like, oh, Brett's does YouTube, because I had gotten like 1,000 views or whatever it was, and they're like, how much? And they're like, how much did you make this month? And I remember being like, I'm like on pace to make like I think like $22 this month, and I was like a legend. Like everyone was like, you're gonna make from YouTube? They're like, you're gonna make like 20, and then I'm like, and I was telling them, I'm like, yeah, so if I get that for like 5 months straight, like YouTube's gonna send me a check for $100. I still have my first $100 check from YouTube.
Oh wow!
I like it's still like a little check to TDBarrett. It was like $103, and it was like so. And I remember
That's
getting
awesome.
it, and like I got it. I was like, I got paid from YouTube, because it was pretty crazy. But yeah. I would say to anybody, and I've said it I said it before, but I think it's so hard to be like vulnerable when you start a YouTube. And like if you feel like, oh, this is just, it's like I guarantee most YouTubers went through the same thing. But I would say like now, giving advice back, and it's easy to say now, I would say like just push through, like do whatever, but that's not necessarily always the easiest thing. So I think I'm conscious of that, but I would say surround yourself, not that I didn't, but I would say it's hard to find, but try and surround yourself with people in a group that like, maybe a couple of you and your friends are going to start a YouTube, like, and you all kind of go after it together. I feel like sometimes that can be a good thing, but But yeah, it's definitely not an easy thing to do, and I did delete that channel, but it kind of helped me create TDBarrett, I guess. But definitely, like, looking back, I wish I could have been a little more like confident in that moment and just been like, oh, I don't care what you say. But it's hard to be like that.
For sure. All right, so moving on to your college career. Do you call it university or college?
It goes by, but I mostly would. I always like it's called the university. Like people here would be like, "Oh, are you in uni?" Like it's like, "Oh, what uni do you go to?" But college works too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was just a question. So let's see. So you go to college and you get a scholarship to play quarterback.
Yes.
And you also your YouTube is simultaneously taking off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, also you met your wife Maddie there.
Yes.
Fun fact. Correct?
I did. Fun fact. Yes, I did.
Okay. Awesome. So, so you play. You were the quarterback going into the college. You're starting YouTube. Your YouTube is taking off. Then they switch you to wide receiver, and they bring in a different quarterback. Correct?
Yes, I can give more. I'll give some more. So I played my entire.
Yeah, give more context.
Yeah. So my first year, my YouTube was doing really, really well. It was like growing. It wasn't crazy. Like I remember when I first got to my dorm, I had like 10,000 subs or something. But I was gaining traction in MLB. Actually, I had started an MLB channel because I remember looking through YouTube, and sometimes if you like, I always tell people, if you look through YouTube and no one's done it, that doesn't mean don't do it. That means do it. And I remember looking through MLB YouTube and being like, there's not a lot of people doing Diamond Dynasty, because Diamond Dynasty had just started. So I started doing that. That's how I was kind of growing. So I was at like 10, 11, 12,000. So my first year, I would say it went well. I loved it. Like some of my best friends, like I met there. The coach that recruited me had brought me in to obviously play QB. But like the team was doing really, really, really bad. Like they went 0-8 the first year I was there. So YouTube doing well. I go into that summer, and my YouTube, like that's when I have my first YouTube takeoff. So like first year university, I meet Maddie like halfway through. My YouTube's killing it. Football is going it wasn't like killing it at that point, but I was like, hey, if I play 4 years, like I'm sure I'll do. Yeah. Like I'm like I was confident in myself. I go home for the summer. My YouTube blows up, like more than it's ever blown up. Like I start MLB The Show in the summer starts going crazy, and then in the summer, or I think maybe even a little bit before the summer, the coach who recruited me ends up getting fired. They bring in a new coach, and I had really been like close with the coach. Like I honestly wasn't even planning on playing college football until like I had said no to a few other plays. I liked football, but I was like, I don't know if I have like the desire to like, not that it was, but it was just like I wasn't the most like committed to like, oh, I want to play professionally in the CFM. Like it was never really a thing. But I met this coach, and I could tell like he really believed in me, and he was a really great guy. Like he was just easy to be around. And then he ended up getting fired. And then when he when he got fired, they brought in a new coach, and the coach was fine, super, super nice guy, but he had a different like mentality. He was an American,
Yep.
and he wanted to bring in a lot of Americans. So he brought in the first kind of thing that he did. He brought in 2 quarterbacks. One was an American QB who like he like in high school, I think he was higher ranked on 24/7 or whatever that thing you guys use than Johnny Manziel. Like that was his like claim to fame. He was a really, really like. His career didn't really pan out in D1, but he was like he was known, and he was also like 24. So in Canadian college football, age is weird. Age is weird. You can play a lot older. Until they switched the rule like 4 years ago, there was players who were like 30 playing in college. So
right. That's crazy. So they did change it though.
Yes, but now
Recently.
But you can still do this. So you can play hypothetically. You can play 2 years of junior. So, like, when you're out of high school, you can play, I think even 3 years. You can play 3 years of junior, and then you can play 4 years of college. So you can essentially end up with, like, 25, 20, and I think, like, 25, 26. So I left, and I went and played when I was 18 years old. So when they brought him in, he was, like, I want to say he was 24 years old, and the other guy that was 23. And I'm just an 18-year-old. These guys have had crazy experience. So...
Yeah.
And I was actually excited to like, so when I saw that, I was like, there's no way they're going to start me over this dude. Or like, I was like, it was like literally they did a whole banquet just for him signing. Like it was such a huge deal, him signing. So I talked to the OC, and I had been like one thing on the team, and like people who play with me would remember I was notorious for like my hands. Like every time you threw a ball at me, like I could pretty much catch it with one hand. Like that was, and the coaches like would like, dang, like, and I remember, like, the offensive coordinator telling me at one point I had the best hands on the team, and I was a quarterback. Like, he was like, do you want to switch to receiver? So, switched to receiver, and I don't know. I just, like, it was a whole, like, when you play quarterback your whole life, and you're kind of, like, and you're just, like, it's hard switching positions. My footwork was really not where I needed to be, like, a receiver. Like, and I could kind of see, like, I don't know. I in my head I was like, I think maybe at some point I could start, but I was like, I didn't really see. Yeah, I didn't see it going crazy well. So,
gotcha.
This is all in training camp. Year 2 training camp. I'm switching to receiver, and my YouTube channel had just had the best summer ever. Like it was the greatest summer of all time. I got so like through training camp, I was so exhausted. I stopped posting, and my channel went from notoriously 5 million views in a month to about like 600,000 or so. I could completely, and I was like, I wasn't posting. When I did, it was brutal content because I was so tired all the time from football. Like, I was just exhausted. There was 2 days. So I remember talking to my girlfriend and my now wife, and I was kind of like, you know what, like, I gotta quit. So I ended up just, I quit football. And
quit football.
I quit football, so I went to the coach, and I was like, which was hard because it's like, I moved across the country just to play football.
Right.
I quit football, and then even more then, because like when I quit football, I quit it with the intention, and like I even told the coach when I quit, I was like, I'm doing YouTube. I was like, so I quit it with the like goal of like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. So on the day that I quit football,
Hold on, let me cut you off. Let me cut you off real quick. So so when you quit, it's actually a crazy story that I found. And you were in a drill.
Oh yes.
And some dude like you were playing receiver, right?
It's very interesting.
And the DB like threw you to the ground, and the coach got mad that you didn't like retaliate and made you run.
Yeah. Here I'll So this.
Sure. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I wasn't a great receiver. Like I was not very. But the we were doing like one-on-ones, and the play before I had kind of hit him with like a shoulder move off the start, and I got really good inside positioning, and I caught it. And the coach, he was like one of the better DBs, and his defensive coach like lost it on him. Like he was so mad about it because like I was a guy who just got switched from QB beaters. Like I wasn't. So the second time we matched up again, and this time like I could tell he was mad, and he like just grabs me by the helmet, and just like pushes me, like tackles me down, and it was like the most obvious flag ever. And I'm not like an aggressive person. Like I'm like, okay, like joke's on him. Like I beat him the play before.
Right.
And so
Right.
I go to the back line and my offensive coach is like, how dare you let him and not fight him back? And I'm like, well, it was pass interference. I'm like, it's just like, what am I going to do? I'm like, I could get up and fight him. I'm like, I'm going to lose that. And I remember he got so mad at me. He's like, just run. So I ran like 2 laps. And I said this in the Draw of My Life video. That that I was like on those 2 laps, like another like weird life moment. Sometimes like just when things slow down and you're like running, and I was just as I was running in circles, I was like, this environment sucks, and I'm like, I would much rather do YouTube. And I was like, I kind of was just like, you know what, like I can't do everything anymore. It was also a moment where I'm like, hey, I can't get a degree, do YouTube and football. I was like, I'm balancing too much. I was like, I think this is my last practice. So after that practice, I remember it felt different. Like I kind of knew as I was like hanging up my helmet, I was like, I'm pretty sure that'll be my last ever competitive football practice. And I honestly can say I've never looked back. I've never missed football for even like a split second. So, and on the day that I quit, I got on a bus. I got on the bus and I picked up the new 2K game. And that's when I had all my viral videos like Steph Curry versus Shaq.
Right.
I had all those like weird.
Right. Those have millions.
Yes,
of
and that's when I got all those because I went on just this like absolute like I just quit football. I got to make everybody realize I made the right decision because I'm not going to let people think that I made the wrong decision. So I started posting like stupid amounts of stupid videos, but they were getting views. And then my channel kind of took off through 2K and so that's quite the story.
Awesome. And then you're kind of where you are now.
Yeah, I'm very happy where I am now. So.
All right, cool. So I have a couple. These are the last couple questions, just quick questions. So one of the things that I have a question for you is you are obviously a busy guy. So how do you manage your work and like your life balance? Like how do you have like a schedule you stick to? Do you like just kind of do it as it comes? Like how do you do that?
So I would say in like. Now I would say I have the last like 2 years since I've gotten married, honestly. But in college, my schedule was completely whacked. I could never turn my brain off. Like I felt like I never had time. But now I'll kind of explain it typically. I'm actually doing a day in the life soon video somewhere.
Oh,
so
nice.
I feel like that'll be kind of cool for people to see. But
yeah.
I wake up at 8. Usually like I hang out with my dog. Maddie's going, and then I usually get up at 8:30. At 8:30, I go to my desk and I get my thumbnails for the day. So the little pictures, I get the thumbnails. I get 2 thumbnails, one for my baseball, one for Madden. I send them both off to the designer as early as I can, and that's the first thing I do. Then I eat breakfast, take the dog out, and then I usually like at that time will be like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then I start recording at like 10. I usually record from like 10 until like 12:30. I take lunch, and then after lunch, I usually play with the dog, hang out, and then I'll record again, usually from like 2 to. It honestly depends on how many CFMs I'm like who can play because of the videos I'm doing right now. But then I usually will play until 2 until like 4:30 when Maddie gets home, and then I upload all my videos at 4:30, and then I try and just like. What I've gotten so much better at is I try and just like drop everything at 4. Like I'm not gonna. It's rare that I'll like play a game at night. Like I work pretty well at true 9 to 5, which is I would highly recommend because it's in this job it's if you start just like doing it at random times you can start to feel like you have no free time and it can be very daunting. And like I remember I would get like 2-hour windows that I would just sit on and hang out and like watch TV, and then I'd play again and I would be like why didn't I just record and then take my take a break. So that's why most of my videos are recorded during the day. But I would say at this point I have a really good my editor, like I don't edit my videos, so that's helped for the last like 3.5 years. Like I just don't have to edit, so he edits overnight, and so all I really do now is record, get thumbnails, and publish. So, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay. So, you have met a lot of famous people. You've done a lot of cool things over your YouTube career. So, what would you say was the coolest part of your journey? And what would you say is like the biggest mistake or like the lowest of lows in your journey through being a YouTuber?
That's a good one. Okay, I would say.
Like
Yeah.
this, you guys probably know, but he's literally played Tyreek Hill, Lamar Jackson, like the biggest names in football at Madden. Like in person, he played these dudes. So just to give them a little background.
If we're talking athletes, probably the coolest athlete video collab was with Alex Bregman when I went to. Because
Yep.
that one he hit me up on Instagram. He was like, "Hey, like you want to come out to Houston?" He's like, "I'll fly you out to Houston to play me in Madden."
Oh wow.
So he flew me and my friend out. We went, we stayed, we hung out at his house for 5, 6, we just played games. The next day we went back to
That's nuts.
Then after we played, we did a little mini wager, and I ended up beating him in Madden, and then he gives me $500 cash, and he's like, go to the mall. So he's like, go to the mall, buy whatever you want. So me and my buddy went to the mall, we bought 3 or 4 of his own jersey with the money. And then we went back the next day. We played some MLB The Show, hung out. He signed all of our jerseys for us. And then as we were leaving, he gave us his new glove, the Alex Bregman glove, as we were leaving, and it was that was really cool.
That's crazy. So he literally just DM'd you on Instagram and was like, "Yo, you want to come to Houston? I'll fly you out." Just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we played the game, and we just hung out at his house and just talked about baseball, talked about football, talked about everything. I was able to ask him the other guys I had time with because we played, but with Bregman I actually spent a good amount of time with him to the point where I was not but I was able to just have a normal conversation with him and just hear kind of the way he learn about hey and ask his friends hey, what makes Bregman so good, and they're like, his focus level is and what was interesting about Bregman, and to be one of the best hitters in the MLB, they were saying in any task that he does, he's able to focus and lock in to a level of focus that is unbelievable. So when we were playing Madden, I'd look over at him and his eyes
And
were
he's just locked in.
And he was so much better at Madden than I ever expected because he
really?
could lock. Oh yeah, and he didn't even play it that much, and he was really good at it. And his buddies were like, yeah, his focus levels are insane. And I'm to be able to pick up a curveball versus slider coming in at 90 miles an hour, it's that makes sense. So I would say that was the coolest moment. I flew home from that trip on a real wow,
That's sick.
That
was
was
sick.
so cool. So and then the lowest moment, there was a time on my channel, if you can find it, where I started doing everything was failing. I was completely lost. My MLB videos were no longer getting views. My Madden videos were not getting views. I was pretty much hitting and nowadays 10 to 10 on every video. I never got any recommended traction. I had gone from being so high to so low. And I remember I almost I contemplated. I was I'm maybe I'm done. This is kind of it. I started doing sports documentary 30-minute talking about sports stories, and those are hidden on the channel so deep. I started doing story time videos about how I got fired. I literally just started doing random videos
whatever you could do
because I was lost. I had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I would go downstairs and record, and I was I literally was no one's watching. I can't get YouTube to recommend me. And that's when I tell the story about this. I'm a very symbolic person, I guess, but I was running. I was in the best shape I'd ever been at that point because I was running every single day, and I was running randomly, and this was at the lowest point. And I honestly, on my runs, I would think about what am I going to do after YouTube? I would think about businesses, think about everything. I was I've done well, I can cash out now, start something, and no one can say I didn't try, So I was on my way to kind of out, and then I saw
You were looking at other options.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And trying to be content with them. Hey, I don't know how much longer I can just post content and not get views on. So I saw this marble on the middle of a path, and it was the weirdest thing. I swear sometimes things just happen for a reason. It was on the path that I run every single day, and I picked up the marble, and I was it was super weird, and I was for whatever reason in my head, I was okay, So I took the marble, I took it home.
I remember you telling this one time, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I am going to, from here on out, like I'm going all in on YouTube. Like I was like, but what it was is I told myself, because I had always blamed YouTube, like YouTube's not recommending me, YouTube's not doing this. But at that moment I realized like, hey, it's my fault. Be better. Like make better content. Your content sucks. Be better. So at that point I was like, you know what? I'm aware my editing sucks. I'm gonna hire an editor. Like there was a lot of things that through that marble I just started thinking like, okay, rather than blaming everybody, why don't I start just taking accountability and realizing another thing. In that same lowest moment, someone was hating on all my videos, comments, biggest hater. I hit him up and I was like, hey, can I just call you? I called him and I asked him, I'm like, what are all the things you hate about me? And he like listed off a bunch of things and I'm like, these are totally fair reasons to hate me. I'm like,
wow.
You're completely right. So I remember telling him, I was like, hey, I appreciate your feedback. I'm like, I gotta change a lot of these things. So I did. And then that kind of was like part one of my YouTube career was that point, and then really bad middle, and then part two is now like CFMs, long videos, like, having fun, doing the stuff I actually like with better, not the money, like, but yeah. So yeah, that was easily the lowest point. There was definitely a point where I thought I was completely done. So yeah,
that's crazy. All right, so this is a question that I think a lot of people want to know the answer to. What do you say at the beginning of your videos?
It's not a bad question. I'm pretty sure I say, "What's going on, guys?" and "Are you not entertained?" I'm pretty sure that's. But that's a good question because I've done it so many times that I feel like it's like one of those things that's just like I just do. And I know the "Are You Not Entertained" came from, and it's obvious it came from a WWE game, but I remember I watched an MTV show called The Challenge.
Okay.
And there was this guy on The Challenge named Barrett. He was from the UK and he won a challenge once. And he was like, "Are you not?" And he was like, he was so toxic after winning. And I was like, that's the coolest moment I've ever seen. And I was like, I need to start using that. So then I started saying it. But then, like, as an intro, like, it's just, like, I guess it's just what I say to start off the videos. I used to say, like, because I used to get bugged all the time for saying, "What's going on, guys?" And, like, my, like, buddies and friends would be like, "What's going on, guys?" And I was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah, I gotcha.
So now I just say what I was just, and I try not to even think about it. Because it's such a, like, starting off a video is so difficult. You can either sit there and you can be like, "Hey, today," or "What's up?" And like that's a better option than what I do. But I feel like now my like intros have become such like a known thing in my videos. I'm like, and it gets me amped up too. Like I got, like I sit and
for sure.
When you talk to yourself for 50 minutes. Like you got to amp yourself up a little bit, So yeah.
Yep.
Good question.
Yeah, no, because when I first joined your leagues, like I texted my boys and I was like, "Yeah, I'm playing with this dude," and they were like, "Yo, what does he say at the beginning of his videos?" And like we were like going through all your videos, like trying to figure it out. I was like, "I don't know, man. I really have no idea."
It's probably
I have the opportunity to ask you, so
I've never thought that people didn't understand. I guess it's "What's going on?" It probably just sounds like gibber. Yeah, I don't even.
No.
Because I say it so fast. That's funny.
That was funny. So on the same sort of thing, where does the trademarked Bubba Bam come from?
No,
is that like from something, or is it just something that you just said one day and it just stuck?
Stuck. I find like I love little like sayings and stuff like that. It probably is something that at one point I just said, but I don't know. Oh yeah, 'cause I say Bubba Bam too. I don't know. See, you would be shocked at how little I realize that I say during a video. Like my editor puts them up and people will like in the group chat they'll post clips. And I'm like, when did I say that? Like, I honestly, like, half the time, like, and I feel like I've been doing this for so long that it's just like, I just play video game and I have sayings that, like, people know that I say, but I really honestly wouldn't be able to tell you when I say that. Which is weird because I'm just like, I sit here and do it. But when you're like, when you're doing it versus watching, it's just such a, I don't know, that's funny. Because, yeah, I don't even realize that I really even would do that, which seems crazy. But, yeah.
All right. So, last two questions. If TDBarrett was not a YouTuber, what would you be? Because I know that you graduated from college, but I'm not sure if that's what you want.
I'll be, I almost certainly, would say the next career path will be something in like home building or I like real estate. I really like houses. Like, I love houses. So whether it be owning property like that kind of stuff, or building houses with that'll be, I would say almost certainly, I can guarantee that will be what I do after YouTube.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then okay, last question. So you talk about food a lot on your channel. You talk about snacks. You talk about food.
I do.
What is your favorite food? Like, what is your if Maddie was like, yo, Brett, like we have this crazy machine, like we could get you any food in the world, what would you choose?
So, right now, it all depends on the moment. I like pizza. I like deep dish pizza, but like I have to be in the right
Deep dish.
I
okay.
find like my favorite lunch is anything like I like A&W. I've burnt myself out of. I think if she had a machine if I had a machine right now at this very moment, I would order myself a Blaze pizza, and I would just fold it and I would eat it. I would order I don't know if it's my favorite food, but like I crave I like pad thai. I like different. I love butter chicken. Butter chicken, and I like it's non-spicy butter chicken, like just like very like yeah. But I like naan bread and butter chicken. But I always crave burgers with a lot of like ketchup. It's like I'm a simple. I like with a lot of ketchup.
Burgers with a lot of ketchup.
And a dipping sauce. I like almost always order a dipping sauce because I like to dip. Like it tastes better, you know. I would say, but if I had a machine, it would be Blaze Pizza, or it would be at this given moment, because I haven't had one in years. Because I went through a stage where I was eating way too many. I would actually, you know what? It would be a Baconator. A bacon from Wendy's. Oh, so good. Just like, but I ate a lot of them, and I haven't eaten them very much. So I try and just get the Dave singles now, but.
Gotcha.
But the Baconators are so good, like so good. Maybe if I win the Super Bowl in one of these leagues, I'm gonna celebrate with a Baconator because
there you go.
My motivation, like, hey, you earned it. But yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. So thank you again,
thank you
for being my first ever interview. Hopefully, it's the first of many.
You gotta do a thing where if someone interviews you, because I'd watch that too. You gotta interview yourself. I feel like you. I'd like to learn more about you too. Yeah, I feel like you're an interesting guy also. So maybe at some point I'll interview you.
That'd be great. I'm down.
But man, you did a great job.
All right.
I'll say this too. You did.
Thanks, man.
I don't know if it's something you want, but you definitely were like prepared with questions. You were like pretty naturally gifted at this. So congrats. I've definitely.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I tried to do my research.
You did.
I tried to ask you some questions
you did
that maybe you haven't been asked.
No, and you did. You killed it. So you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Hey, power to you. And me, for those of you who don't know, me and him are about to play in Madden right after this. So
yes.
Let's drop a quick 50 bomb on him.
So we're friends right now, but in about 15 minutes, we're not going to be friends.
At 15 minutes, he is now referred to as bot. And his stupid spread post that he runs is now the biggest garbage play I've ever seen. So I'm undefeated in that franchise too. So
yeah, he won't be after today.
Oh, okay. It's fighting words. We'll see what gets posted first.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man.